they're foreign to us, I hope. Yeah. The rough ascertaining has been, hopefully gets more specific, and you see that that which has defeated us, named the word, given the name of self, is of a foreign nature. Yes, it's an intruder, so to speak. Uh, so we have admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our defects. This brings us to the fifth step in the program of recovery mentioned in the preceding chapter. This is perhaps difficult, especially discussing our defects with another person. It's much easier to discuss defects with another person than our defects. Yeah. It just it just is. If you take the onus of responsibility off of you, you're going to be more truthful. It's just obvious. Yeah. So this is perhaps difficult, especially discussing our defects with another person. We think we have done well enough in admitting these things to ourselves. There is doubt about that. In actual practice, we usually find a solitary self-appraisal insufficient. Many of us thought it necessary to go much further. We will be more reconciled to discussing ourselves with another person when we see good reasons why we should do so. The best reason first. If we skip this vital step, we may not overcome drinking. Well, there you go. Time after time, newcomers have tried to keep to themselves certain facts about their lives, trying to avoid this humbling experience. They have turned to easier methods. Again, why would you want to hide something if it wasn't yours? Yeah. If you realize that you were driven or compelled or imposed upon by something else, I think you could be quite truthful and naked about its revelations. But when we have ownership and pride, or let's say shame, we don't want anyone to know, which is giving a large amount of space for that thing to grow in us. Yeah. Yeah. A secret never stays the same size. It grows. Yeah. So time after time, newcomers have tried to keep to themselves certain facts about their lives, trying to avoid this humbling experience. They have turned to easier methods. What are those easier methods? Yeah. Almost invariably, they get drunk. This isn't like, this is an observation. Yeah. They've been working with a lot of people, and they've realized there's a pattern of when people leave, what becomes the insurmountable situation, and they've observed it, so they put it into the book to sort of save us a lot of time and trouble. Trying to avoid this humbling experience, they have turned to easier methods. Almost invariably, they get drunk. Having persevered with the rest of the program, they wondered why they fell. We think the reason is that they never completed their house cleaning. They took inventory all right, but hung on to some of the worst items in stock. Mm. They only thought they had lost their egoism and fear. They only thought they had humbled themselves, but they had not learned enough of humility. And thought is italicized. Yeah, they usually emphasize something with that. So they're emphasizing thought, and they could have put an alcoholic thought. Yeah. They took inventory, but hung on to some of the worst items in stock. They only alcoholically thought they had lost their egoism and fear. They only alcoholically thought they had humbled themselves. Yeah. So something once again told us That's about something that's not true. But they had not learned enough of humility, fearlessness, and honesty in the sense we find it necessary. I think recognizing what has defeated you as foreign to you is going to help with humility, fearlessness, and honesty. Yeah, because you can be like tragically honest to someone else about their defects. Brutally honest at times. And also hitting the mark quite a lot. Yeah. I really believe fearlessness comes from a recognition that which you're harboring isn't yours. Because they use that word harboring, harboring or giving, let's say, comfort to or protecting or nurturing. And all of that activity of nurturing and harboring is based on a my, yeah? Because you're not harboring other people's resentments or, yeah, yeah. So I feel it's such an important pivot to at least entertain the possibility that that which has defeated you is foreign to you. So therefore, you open up the possibility of being free from it, not trying to be free as it. Because if you're trying to be free as it, you're going to stumble over the lack of fearlessness and honesty that comes with ownership. Yeah. You don't want to know yourself about stuff that you have said that your head has told you you've done, you know, not even asking about another person. You don't even want to know it. You're trying to stay in a constant state of denial about a lot of stuff. Yeah, because it's under the file of mine. Yeah, I did it. That's insane, isn't it? This was an elixir when it triggered in my experience around 6 or 7 years. When I saw self, not saw it, I felt it, but the word self has defeated us as self and us as being completely different. Yeah. And therefore, the parasitical idea came to my mind, and that we are really the host or playing the role of the host. And something is living through us and in a weird way as us. Yeah. And we're listening to its descriptions of life and calling them our descriptions of life. So it's scared quite a lot, obviously, because it doesn't have any firm foundation. So it keeps saying, I'm afraid. And then we parrot it, I'm afraid, I'm afraid. Yeah. Yeah. So having persevered with the rest of the program, they wondered why they fell. We think the reason is that they never completed their house cleaning. They took inventory all right, but they hung on to some of the worst items in stock. Now, when I came in, they said this is a damn good time to give up your secrets, yeah, when you're doing the fifth step with another person. And I had one specific secret coming from when I was younger that the head had sworn many, many times it was never going to tell anybody. Yeah. And I had to pay a lot of security to keep it in that closet all those years. And then I had this opportunity. I had a willing listener and I blurted it out, and he was yawning and he missed it. So I had to tell it twice in like a 2 minute span, this thing I said I would never say to anybody. And it was quite relieving because in my own little storage unit, it had taken a huge size. When I put it out there, it shrunk. Yes. Yeah, so if you're new and you're in near close to this inventory process, take advantage of the setting with the power that's involved and the other person and just put it out there. Yeah. And because the secret obviously is of a past. And this is how we get defeated quite a lot in this moment is by the past occupation. Yeah. So this is a wonderful time. So I did take advantage of it. It was awesome. And I've never thought about it since, literally. Yeah, yeah. Having persevered with the rest of the program, they wonder, okay, but they have not learned enough of humility, fearlessness, and honesty in the sense we find it necessary until they told someone else all their life story. Yeah. So this is why we do the program as it's set out. Yes. Because this is how it worked. It's like if you did a magic incantation and you flubbed one line. Yes. And then the demon doesn't appear because you said one word wrong. This is sort of the process that we do, and then we share with others and assist other people in the act of doing it. Yeah. So it's important to share this with another person and also the spirit of the program. Yeah, so it's always a trinity. It's you, the other person, and that higher power. Okay, so more than most people, the alcoholic leads a double life. He is very much the actor. Once again, here we go. Let's call the actor self, yes? So a vague idea of us is playing the role of the actor, which is self. Yeah. So we lose ourself in the role of the actor and we become self for all intents and purposes. So more than most people, the alcoholic leads a double life. He is very much the actor.
Paul, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I can't take it anymore. Steve Cole's got to close his bathroom door when he's taking a dump. Thank you.
Wow. All right. Well, I can't help you with that, I guess.
Hopefully he heard. It's just, yeah, thank you. Fuck.
What?
Too much.
Hey, listen, it's almost like doing the inventory. You get a peek into someone else's life. The fifth step. There you go. You had it illustrated. Yeah, you've been seeing yourself going into the bathroom. So there you go. So more than most people, I just want to say this again, because the alcoholic leads a double life. Okay. One of the lives of the double life is leading us. Yeah. The bondage of self is another life. When we're not leading the actor is leading us. Yeah. So he and or she is very much the actor. To the outer world, he presents his stage character. This is the one he likes his fellows to see. He wants to enjoy a certain reputation, but knows in the heart he doesn't deserve it. Now, talk about duality. Wow, that's. You wouldn't believe how much pride there is in a little group of cocaine users. Yeah. Or remember with the drinkers, you looked up to the guy or the woman who could drink a lot. Yes, there was pride galore. We used to have contests between other people who said they drank a lot, and we'd have contests to see who could drink the most. And there was pride involved. Yes, pride is constantly preceding all the falls. Yeah, yeah. You want to keep reading, or we'll go? Yeah. More than most people, the alcoholic leads a double life. He is very much the actor. To the outer world, he presents his stage character. This is the one he likes his fellows to see. He wants to enjoy a certain reputation, but knows in his heart he doesn't deserve it. The inconsistency is made worse by the things he does on his sprees. Yes? Because then you're in the dilemma of powerlessness. The actor doesn't follow your script. Yeah. The actor has written his own storyline, and it's different than what you thought the storyline was. And and as the director, he's not listening to your direction anymore. Ben Affleck has gone wild. The inconsistency is made worse by the things he does on his sprees. Coming to his senses, he is revolted at certain episodes he vaguely remembers. Can you please look at those memories as that you were driven into the situation? You were not the driver. You'll be able to back out of that memory much easier. Yes? But when you pull in and you call it your lot, your parking space, you get stuck there. Yeah. It's talking about this. The actor goes on its spree. Yeah. And then when you come to your senses, you're embarrassed and you want to cover it all up. And therefore the lying starts and the denial starts. Yes. And you vaguely remembers. Yet, but inside you have been convicted as the doer. Even though you vaguely remember, you're convicted all completely convincingly. Yeah, yeah. These memories are a nightmare. Wow. You don't think they are a nightmare now for many people? When the head takes you back to the glory days, yeah, and you get a distant sense of how nightmarish it was, and as if you were the conductor of that nightmare. Yeah. He trembles to think someone might have observed him. Yes. This is called the bondage of self. Yeah. As fast as he can, he pushes these memories far inside himself. And if he can't do it fast enough, you drink. Yes. To forget. He hopes they will never see the light of day. He is under constant fear and tension that makes for more drinking. Yes. Psychologists are inclined to agree with us. We have spent thousands of dollars for examinations. We know but few instances where we have given these doctors a fair break. We have seldom told them the whole truth, nor have we followed their advice. Unwilling to be honest with these sympathetic men, we were honest with no one else. Small wonder many in the medical profession have a low opinion of alcoholics and their chance for recovery. And then just to start, and then we'll stop. We must be entirely honest with somebody. I humbly believe it's much more easy to be honest about something that happened through you and you were not the doer of than the idea of being the doer of what has happened through you. Yeah. I think you can be fearless and honest right from the get-go if you see that the manifestations of self in your life are not yours. Yeah, I just do. And therefore, if they're yours, it's going to be almost impossible to be fearless and thorough. Yet, fearless and thorough is necessary from their point of view, the people that started this program. They're saying it's necessary to be fearless and thorough. And I'm saying if you call all of this shit's yours, there's going to be a huge desire not to be fearless and thorough. And if the necessity for the sobriety is to be fearless and thorough, you may fall short. Yes. Because of what? The lack of honesty. And what about what's the most honest thing you could come to? That you were driven, not the driver, that there were self-imposed calamities, not your self-imposing them, but self-imposed. Yeah. That you were moved by 100 forms of selfing. And you made tons of decisions based on self that set off these trains of circumstances that brought us to these nightmarish ends. Yes? The book can be written or seen differently if you change the fucking author. Yes? It was alcoholism. It was not you. Yeah. If not, you'll still be chained to the past. You will want to shut the door on it, and you will regret it. Yeah. You will. You will regret it if you think it was yours, and you're gonna want to keep the door shut. And therefore, you won't be completely honest to this day. Yeah. This is why seeing the exact nature of the wrong affects every step. Yeah. It affects every service. It affects a lot because there's a built-in humility in it. Yeah. Yeah. You have realized that you have been driven and you're going to be driven now. But now you're being driven by another driver, and that is the higher power. But you are going to be driven. You're not the an island upon yourself. Yes. You can have an unleashed 10-minute episode of anger that will tattoo the rest of your life by doing something crazy and going to prison. Yeah. And then you'll think you ran everything else except that one moment. You're not running much at all. Yeah. We're turning our will and life over to the care of something greater than self. Yeah. Because somehow or another, self had grabbed our will and life. And any life run on self-will, which it was, is hardly going to be a success. Yes? We don't give up our will, we turn it over to a higher power. Yes? The will is still yours in a sense, but now you give it over to a higher power. We have to go through this process because the lower power doesn't want to give it up. And we're in a dilemma of powerlessness. We can't seem to keep our promises. We can't seem to keep our commitment. We can't seem to keep our vow, I'm never going to drink or never do that or do this. Yes? And it's demoralizing when you believe you should have the ability to say no and you can't say no. Yeah. Perhaps there is a better way, a different way. Yes, trusting the infinite rather than finite self. So but when you investigate, you start at rather than finite self. You don't start with the infinite. You investigate the finite self and recognize you're not that, and that's trusting the infinite. You're not going to study the infinite. You're going to sense it. You're going to feel it move through you. You're going to acknowledge its presence. You're not investigating it. Yeah. You can investigate what has defeated you because you're not it. When you think it's you, you run a self-investigation, and then the biggest aspect of the crime is hidden. Yeah. And then you're walking around 40 years sober and you're still bent, your back is still bent by carrying all this past shit. Yeah. If you shut the door on the past, it becomes a storage unit. Yes. A lot of heaviness gets filled up there. Yeah. We don't regret the past nor shut the door on it. So some freaking air can come in, can circulate. Yes. And then the past can be put to great use by our new manager. Yeah. You'll be able to identify with others, or they'll be able to identify with you through your story of the past, of living under the same tyranny they're living under. Yeah. And in that living under that tyranny, you think it's some completely unique and special and terminally unique, and it ain't. Yeah. There's many of us that have suffered under the same tyranny. What's imposed on us is not by us, it's by something else. Yeah. And it's the same for every addict and alcoholic. The dictator doesn't have infinite traits, it defeats us in a patterned way. And people recognized it, and they tried to offer a solution in this big book of AA. Yeah. And they said in the big book that more of us are going to bring more stuff about the same situation. Yeah. And freedom is truly from the bondage of self, not through the bondage of self. Yeah. So, any questions or shares? But we'll stop there, right? The bottom of we must be entirely honest with somebody if we expect to live long or happily in the world. Yeah. Yeah. You know, if your investigation is funneled through self-centeredness, it's gonna pass over the most important clues. That's why when you talk to another person that doesn't have a vested interest, as your head does have, he or she can be quite honest about some of your blind spots where you can't see. Yes, it's quite revelatory to have another person, yeah, hear, yeah, this stuff. It was quite revelatory to me because they didn't have any vested interest to shut the door on it or to regret anything. They told the truth to me about it, and it was obvious. Yeah, it hurt when someone I really respected, my old Tai Chi teacher, told somebody that Paul is like a parasite. He's just completely sucking other people dry. It really hurt my feeling because I had a lot of respect for this teacher, you know, because my father died when I was young, a lot of stuff in there. But it hurt my feelings, but it was in a healthy way, yes, because it motivated me to pick up the new ideals that this program was offering, yeah, and tell the truth about the self-centeredness and the selfish and the self-seeking and frightened. Yeah, tell the truth about it and be willing to have it changed or to, yeah, or see it change. Yeah. So a lot of things, a lot of the crippling effects of honesty is the pride gets deflated. Yes. This false pride gets shrunk. It does. And after a while, you don't keep blowing up that balloon. You let it shrink, and then a humility sets in that frees you quite a lot of trying to save your face instead of your ass when you need to save your ass. Yeah. So it's going to start somewhere. For many of us, it was the fourth and fifth step. It really was. Yeah. I hadn't told anybody most of this shit. Yeah. Yeah. So, yep, we're into action now. And we're on the top of page 74. So we'll remember that. So anyone wants to share anything, but I feel so fortunate, man. I came in really crippled, really crippled. One of the biggest statements in the book that really got me was the inability to have a viable relation with another human being. Yeah, that hurt because that was true. It did. I covered it up by having a lot of relationships, but I really could not have a viable relationship with another human being. That's that was a humbling. Uh, I knew it. I didn't want to know it. Yeah, but then I had to see it. Yeah, and there were many steps for the big turnaround, and that was one of them. Yeah. And now my two favorite statements of the occupation of self is spiritless servility and incomprehensible, pitiful demoralization. I think those two statements capture it pretty well. Pretty well. I don't want anything to do with any of that, except maybe recognizing it. Yeah, yeah. Spiritless servility. It's so it's so beautiful because it coincides with our solution, which is spirit. So the problem produces a spiritless slavery, and the solution is spirit. It's pretty cool. Spiritless. I want to get a shirt, spiritless servility. Have you had enough of spiritless servility? And then on the back, well, more's coming, pitiful, incomprehensible demoralization. That would be a living page of the book, eh? If you haven't had enough of spiritless servility, you're going to get a big, incomprehensible, pitiful demoralization. Oh, when's enough enough? Yeah, please. Uh, please. So if you've been lucky and the problem has really been removed from you, you don't have an urge right now to drink or use, that's a miracle for us. It is. And to have that and make hay when the making's good, because when that urge is taken away, there's a lot of recovery there. That's where the recovery happens, yes? You get a really second chance for a new life. You really do. The battle has been suspended, yeah, and we need to make reparations, and we get repaired, yeah, yeah. And this is the beginning of it, fourth and fifth. The fifth was very important, uh, very important, because there's a loving something appears in it, yeah. All of these action steps, uh, well, every step of the way, there's like the fourth step and the fifth step, there's such a spirit in it, yeah. And it's great when it's shared, like when there's a person that you have to sort of do the step with, so to speak. And four and five is sort of like that. And actually nine is like that, or mostly eight, yeah. I needed them to write a list of what, and they made it easy for me. They had what is it you will never do? Yeah. What will it, you may do it, and what are you willing to do now? And so, okay, let's start with what you're willing to do now. And the doing it will build momentum where it will drive you to do that which you said you would never do. Yeah. But I started small, and then what happened with the eighth step was wild. I got hunted down by amends. I just started running into people I owed money to, and my first reaction when I saw them on the street was to take a left. And then AA just stopped me, and I went up and walked to him, and I said, "Hey, bro, I owe you some money." And these little demonstrations produced a huge amount of grace. Yeah. The tiniest of demonstration produced a big momentum. Yeah. Yeah. It happened so many times. There's one guy, I was at a concert and I saw he was on the other side and he was dangerous. And I had owed him money that I'd been successful at avoiding him for years. And now I was sober and there he was. So I actually went him and found him and I gave him money. And, yeah. But I had been running from this guy for a couple of years because he was a nasty dude. Uh, yeah. It may start with little steps, and there's enough people here that will go along with your little steps, yeah? And then there's going to be big leaps. That which responds to your little steps takes big leaps, yes? Yes. The gate of the higher power is much larger than your gate. When it takes a step, it can be huge, yeah? But it's usually a reaction or a response to a little willingness. Just the littlest amount of willingness will trigger great leaps. Yeah. Yeah. You won't take the leap, but you'll be taken by the leap. Yeah. And you'll be placed in many positions of neutrality with no thought or effort on your part on this process of recovery. Yeah. Yeah. After a while, like we have a cat. Cat does not like being picked up. Yeah. So Amelia has picked it up for 6, 7 years. And before it would freeze its legs like a frozen thing, and now it loves it. Yeah. But it didn't like to be picked up. Well, this is what the program does. The program picks you up and takes you somewhere. You may not like it because you may have pride and think you're the doer, but you'll relent because of how good it feels. Yeah. 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 So, yeah. All right. Anyone? No? Oh, well, we'll keep reading then, eh? You want to keep reading? Uh, let's start. This is pretty incredible. We must be entirely honest with somebody if we expect to live long or happily in this world. Rightly and naturally, we think well before we choose the person or persons with whom to take this intimate and confidential step. Could be a sponsor, it doesn't have to be. Yeah. Your sponsor may tell you to take it with someone else or suggest. Those of us belonging to a religious denomination which requires confession must, and of course, will want to go to the properly appointed authority whose duty it is to receive it. Wow. You may have to reserve the confessional box. You may be in there a while. I don't know. I think you put in a bigger donation in the basket. The priest, tell the priest, Father, I hope you have a sandwich in there. This could take a while. I brought some cookies for you. Though we have no religious connection, we may still do well to talk with someone ordained by an established religion. Wow. That wouldn't be the first person I would look for, but yeah, that's just me. We often find a person quick to see and understand our problem. Another alcoholic, yeah, probably. Of course, we sometimes encounter people who do not understand alcoholics. I wouldn't ask one of those people. Some of the information you share may be used against you down the road. Yeah. Your partner or something. I think I would bypass. I would bypass that. Better a stranger, I think. If we cannot or would rather not do this, yeah, basically tough, tough. You're gonna do it. If we cannot or would rather not do this, we search our acquaintance for a close-mouthed, understanding friend. Perhaps our doctor or psychologist will be the person. It may be one of our own family, but we cannot disclose anything to our wives or our parents which will hurt them and make them unhappy. Yeah, I don't, yes. Remember, this was the beginning. This was the beginning of AA. I think a lot of people have learned, like, a large amount of people that you wouldn't obviously share this stuff with. All right, so let's go. Notwithstanding the great necessity for discussing ourselves with someone. They are putting a very big emphasis on this, eh? To share it with another person. It may be one is so situated that there is no suitable person available. If that is so, this step may be postponed only, however, if we build ourselves if we hold ourselves in complete readiness to go through with it at the first opportunity. Yeah, so basically, they're just going over the prescription. You're there. Yeah. I mean, we've been around a while. Yeah. I don't call up my grandmother and, Nana. I want probably, probably, yeah, yeah. So, anyone wants to share? I think I'm going to stop there. No? Oh, good. The great joy, I'll tell you, one of them is to start doing fifth steps and hearing fifth steps. So hopefully you'll be asked to be a sponsor with someone. And it's really a privilege to hold the space for somebody to do a fifth step. Yeah. And I did it quite a lot of times and I learned, the 7 hour odyssey can be cut down very quickly because you're really trying to see the pattern of how self has defeated you. You don't have to go over like when I did the inventory, I didn't go every one night stand. Yeah. I had a category of one night stands because they all were pretty similar. Yeah. The dynamic. So I did it that way. And I didn't go over, the excruciating details of the same crime. I just put out the same crime. Yeah. I'm in the habit of this behavior was a habitual behavior. Let's move on to the next. Yeah. Because to me, the true point of the inventory is to see how self has defeated us through its manifestations. Yeah. And we're looking at three of the most common triggerings of these manifestations: resentment, fear, and harms done to others in the pursuit of what we want. Yeah. In other words, your selfish behavior. Yeah. I mean, you don't take into consideration uh, the person has a family or stuff like that. You just you're going to do whatever you want to do to get what you want. Yeah. That's driven by self. Yes. So, so basically you could stream it down to a couple of hour event. It wouldn't have to be a giant odyssey. Some people though, they feel a necessity to go over everything, then just get ready, bring some sandwiches and shit. Maybe situate your chair so you can gaze out of a beautiful window in a nice setting, because you may be there a while. But you can speed it up as the hero also. Yes? Because there is a point to it. It's not to tell your whole story, it's to really see the patterns of how self has defeated you. So that what? So that you can recognize before the defeat. Yes? You don't want to live a forensic life. You don't want to know why things fucked up after they fucked up. You'd like to have a preventive knowledge, yes? Where by the knowledge you prevent the event. Yeah? In other words, you don't go down that same road, you turn now. Yeah. So it has a purpose to me, not to get everything off your chest, but to really see the machinations of the problem residing in the mind, and this idea of self is what has and is going to defeat us. Yeah, yeah. So, and then after that, there's advice. You go home for an hour and you go over and you see, hey, have I done a pretty good job with the prior steps? Yes, and then there you go. Take the book down. You read this. You read the prayer of 6 and 7, and now you're on your way, so to speak. Yes? Yeah, yeah. And to me, 6 and 7 in time becomes the most active steps. Yeah. They only give it like 2 paragraphs short, but to me, it extends quite a lot in the activity of recovery. Yeah. Because you will now see that which has defeated you before it defeats you, and you can bring it to 6 and 7. Yeah. So it's almost as if you turn over the traits of self, there's an umbilical cord stuck from the traits to the self. Yeah. So when you're turning over through 6 and 7, the expressions of self, you're turning over self also. Yes? Because we only see self by how we're defeated by it. There is no self to see. Yeah. So by when the traits are noticed that leads to defeat and we bring it to 6 and 7, it's dragging the idea of self with it. Yeah. Because they're connected. The manifestations and self are really the same thing. Yeah. Yeah. So, and before that, before that clarity of 6 and 7, the when we're first doing this, then 8 and 9 are paramount because you are now going to uh, not shut the door nor regret the past, which is incredible. Because when you're released from the past, you realize how stuck you were. Yes. You have no idea how stuck you were until you're relieved of the stuckness. You don't. Part of being stuck is the denial of it. Yeah. Yes. When you get stuck in the quagmire of the head, the stuckness comes with a denial of it or a not noticing it or recognizing it. Yes. It has to because the host has the ability to pull itself out of the quagmire. So it gets neutralized. Yeah. And this is what happens with this. You start seeing that which is going to defeat you. Like before the storm, the clouds start building. You start see if you can be at the point where you're seeing the clouds forming and you know what's going to happen and you bring that to 6 and 7, you change the weather really in your subjective experience. You don't, but the weather changes in your subjective experience. It does. Yeah. This is part of the traveling lighter. 6 and 7 is really coincides with the act of traveling lighter because the stuff that's going to heavy you out is seen and you bring it to the higher power and it gets transformed into something useful. Yeah. So the same attention and interest that's driving you crazy could be used to enrich your day. It's just what are you relying on? Self or the higher power. It's really that simple. Yeah. And you tell the truth about relying on self, and then you find out you start having experiences of reliance on a higher power. And they are the most convincing fact is the demonstration of it works. Yeah. 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 So to me, 6 and 7, you read it, it only takes 30 seconds to read, but the spirit of it is very important. Uh, very, very important. Yeah. And if you do 6 and 7, you may now have to do 8 and 9 as you go along. Of course, there's a huge 8 and 9 in the beginning, but you may not have it so much 8 and 9 after if 6 and 7 is utilized. Yeah. Because you won't fuck someone over. So there won't be an amends. And then 10, 11, 12 is the way we maintain the condition, yeah, the spiritual condition that the steps have produced. Yeah, there you go. I believe the spirit itself will maintain itself. I do. I believe I'm more in the the camp of we are placed in a position of neutrality with no thought or effort on our part. The problem does not exist for us anymore. I'm in that camp of I do not believe it's work, 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 work. Yeah, I don't. I think you can get established in the solution. Yeah. If you're not established in the solution, it may look like work, but when you're established in the solution, it doesn't look like work. I don't feel. Yeah, I don't. What's the easiest thing to do most at certain times? Nothing. Yeah, and you'll have the ability to do nothing. It's great. All I can speak from is this experience and observation. Yeah. There is not a book. I didn't find a book by some guy named Madison Mason, and I'm trying to share it with you. This is the process of recovery that I fell through. Yeah. Just reporting how it looked, how it looks now. Yeah. I can't, yeah. Some people in the beginning, they need a drill sergeant. Yeah. They have an incredible subdivision of AA is stag meetings. So these men get together, brimming with testosterone, and they rah-rah themselves into staying sober. It's awesome. Yeah, they have arm wrestling contests and shit. It's great. It's great. Yeah, but you can stay sober without that, or you can stay sober with it. Yeah, and maybe you need a boot camp, but you don't want a boot life. Yeah, you may need a boot camp, and then you move on. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You may start with a drill sergeant, then you'll start with a compassionate, relaxed dude. Yeah, yeah. So, all right. Well, any questions, answers, anything? I'm so cool. This is good going over this stuff. Uh, it brings back memories and stuff. I really, I really suggest, if possible, to hear a person's fifth step. You'll get if you work with someone through the steps, you'll get a lot of new views of the steps. Yes. Yes. Because really you have it by giving it away. So if you get it, a possibility of someone asking you, jump on it. Literally, it's going to be profound for you also. Yeah, it really is. Yeah. I don't. So, all right, well, we'll end the day. Either everyone's been muted or silence is reigning supreme. So I'll go with the latter. It's silence reigning supreme. Fantastic. Yeah. There's silence all the time, something speaking through me here. The two can occupy the same moment. One's in action in a state. The state of silence, there's an action of talking. Yeah. All right. Well, Kathleen, thank you so much. And for anyone who had trouble getting in, it all came about anyway this morning. Matthew, UK, I'll keep my eye on you, Matthew. You and I are going to stay sober. Yes? Fantastic. And call someone up before anything happens, not after. Please, really. Chris, Mr. C, yes? Getting regenerated by the recuperating quality. This is like a hot spring, the Zen Bitch Lab Zooms. You can go in, it's like an Epsom salt bath. Yeah. Rico Cruz, my main man. There he is. Always a pleasure, Rico. Miak, our archivist, working feverishly to find the oldest talk that's printed or on tape or something. Walter, the brother from another mother. Betty in Nevada, nice to see you. Roman, as always. Roman, I'm going to talk to you on WhatsApp, I think, soon. Or if you can call me.
Great. Can do. Yes,
Yeah,
thanks.
call me if like from 5 minutes or something. All right,
Okay.
great. Thank you. Kerry, as always. I'm sorry, you know, you've got to witness certain things in life, Kerry. It's just the way it goes. Yeah. There's always the unexpected. Remember, we say, don't shut the door on anything. Diona Fuzan, nice to see you, honey. Life's coming back in. Yes, very good. Very, very good. You're looking better too. Good. Jess, nice to see you, honey. Yep. We may start having a plan, a September meeting in Italy. Who knows? We'll have to start. Yeah. See what happens. Joseph C., my man, he's out in the lovely day. Nice to see you, Joseph. Breathe that French air. The smell of croissants. Ah. And damn good butter. Very nice. Oliver, our friend in Berlin. Nice to see you, Oliver. What's
Hey,
going on?
yeah. Are you still using your old email from like
Yes,
3 years ago?
Paul
Okay, I
Head,
might send it. Yeah, I might.
paulhead@yahoo.com, I think.
I
Yeah.
might send you a message then, a question
All right, good. Yeah.
about Italy. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. All right. We got everyone there. I think that's it. Hey, thank you, folks. Always a pleasure. Uh, yeah. Empty phenomena keeps rolling on. We'll be around tomorrow. No, Saturday. Saturday. Yeah, come to the Zoom. It's Amelia's birthday. We'll have a nice little party here, and we'll do the Zoom. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
Thank you,
for
Paul.
this
Thank you,
opportunity.
guys.
Thanks,
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kathy, for your love and service.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
Amelia's birthday.
See you guys.
Cake.
Thank you, Paul.